I am Kinsey Van Druten. I am Immuno Lab's holistic nutrition consultant. I work with clients nationwide to go over their food sensitivity results and provide them helpful, nutrition and lifestyle support going forward so that they can take the necessary steps to feel better, heal their chronic diseases, and live a healthier lifestyle.
Nice. And then how long have you been doing this?
I have been with Immuno Labs for 3 years. However, I've probably been in the holistic nutrition world for, oh my goodness, probably like 5 to 6 years now.
Nice. So yeah, I wanted to just go through my results just as you would any normal person and just kind of walk through everything, let me know the things I should watch out for, what I need to make sure I avoid, where stuff would be hidden. Like I think wheat came up reactive on mine, so I know that's usually more hidden than things than other items are.
Yeah, let me pull up your results. Let me move this over. Give me 1 second to get those pulled up here. All right, cool. So what led you to want to find out your food sensitivities?
I mean, new year, new you. So I'm always I'm always interested to figure out what's going on. How can I improve? I've been much more. I guess I've continued to be much more on the vegan, vegetarian route. Just kind of doing dairy and eggs, and that's about it.
Right,
And I just
right.
want to see how it was going. Like I didn't really have anything too specific. I mean, just like some bloating and digestive issues, but I think that was sort of common if I had something that was not the healthiest food, like some ice cream or whatever, then I wouldn't feel that
Right.
great. So
I
I was
really
actually,
think that's really common, and it
yeah,
really is.
right.
So we're
That's
talking
true. That's true.
about food digestion.
Yeah.
It's good that you're able to pinpoint those, and a lot of our clients, feel that they don't have any symptoms, but really, that is a great way to find out your food sensitivities to stay in optimal health, to know what your body is currently reacting to at any given moment, so we don't get too far in the process when we're like, oh my gosh, I'm sick, and then have to backtrack and try to figure out what it is that you're reacting to. So cool. And you really don't have too many. I like seeing results where you only have like 12 or so. I
Yeah.
personally have 46. So when I look at those
Really?
results, yeah, when I look at those
Wow.
results, it's not really only shocking, but it's really a sign that I need to heal my gut. So having only 12
Yeah.
like you do, I can tell that you don't have too much leaky gut going on, and that's good. So really focusing on getting rid of these foods will be good. Now, I
Yeah.
remember maybe it was a year or even 2 years ago, I had reviewed results with you before, and I want to say that maybe you reacted to cow's milk and cheese. You were using whey protein at the time.
I think
I
so.
might
Yeah.
totally be wrong, but I do remember
No, I think you're right.
offering you pumpkin seed protein as an alternative.
Yes.
So I'm not sure if you ended up using that, but it's funny to see pumpkin now show up on your sensitivity test. And if you have been,
I had used the protein some because I think Davis actually got some as well, and I the only thing that I can think of for the pumpkin because it had been a very long time since I had pumpkin in like recent memory because that powder we used that up and then we just kind of went back to the Vega one.
right.
And the only thing I can think of is that during the holiday time and like what would it be from Halloween until when did I get tested? January, I was definitely eating a lot more pumpkin items like pumpkin pie, pumpkin bread,
Heck
yeah, some like pumpkin latte stuff. So I don't know how much pumpkin is actually in one of those things because more like probably like the extracted flavor from it. But
yeah.
that's the
Right.
only thing I can think of is why pumpkin would have come up. But yeah,
Well, I think we all go on the pumpkin diet from November to
yeah,
January.
right.
So it could be, an overconsumption of pumpkin that maybe resulted in a food sensitivity today. This isn't necessarily a what I ate last type of test. So it's
Yeah,
not that, well, I was eating pumpkin, so now it showed up. That's not necessarily the case because
yeah,
you can be eating the same foods daily and it might not show up, but that's just a sign that your body's tolerating it. Things are going good. Keep doing what you're doing. So yeah, that's that. And let's see what else. So 12 food sensitivities. Almond is one. That's going to be hard because I know a lot of, today, a lot of non-dairy alternatives are almond everything, but
yeah.
a lot of other nut and seed options. So you can look to cashew milk. You can do flax milk, walnut milk. Any nut or seed or even grain can be made into a non-dairy milk. I usually say stay away from the grain-based milks just because they are a little bit higher in sugar.
Okay.
But again, the possibilities are endless. It not only tastes amazing, but it is cheaper to make your own too. And I know a lot of times people say, well, I make all this up and it's just me. And then it goes bad because when you make your own up, you only have got about a 3-day shelf life. So what you can do
Yeah,
with
because
that
no preservatives.
right, exactly. So you can actually freeze it in ice cube trays,
Okay.
and then take it out and use as needed. So that is that. So basically, the protocol over the next 3 months for you will be to avoid these 12 foods for 3 months. And the reason we recommend 3 months is because your white blood cells actually remember food sensitivities for 2 months. So
Okay.
by avoiding them for 3 months, we hope that the body no longer views these foods as an invader and you can have them again on a rotational basis. After 3 months, you will be able to challenge these foods again one at a time. And you will do so by starting with your +1 foods first.
Gotcha. And
So to
actually,
the right of,
I'm just
what
going
was
to
that?
share my screen real quick with share screen. Okay. Can you see the foods now?
Perfect, yes.
Okay, cool. Because I figure I might as well put it up there.
Yeah, so to the right of your foods, you see those plus numbers,
Yep.
and those are on a scale of 1 to 4. A lot of times people think that a higher number means more sensitive than a lower number, and that's not necessarily the case. Those are the numbers of antibodies that were found in your blood. And you can have fewer antibodies that are more reactive. So I do want you to treat a higher number the same as a lower number.
Gotcha.
And because a lot of times you might have, you might notice that your +1 foods are the foods that are causing you the most concern or problems. And people say, well, then what is the point of those plus numbers? Well, the point is they're helpful when you reintroduce your reactive foods, because again, you will begin with challenging your +1 foods first. And what
Gotcha.
happens some people also want to just avoid, some easy ones that they feel will be easy to avoid at the time without avoiding them all together. And you do really want to try your best to avoid them all at once, because every time you are consuming one of your food sensitivities, your body is producing an antibody. And with an antibody present, so is inflammation. And with inflammation, the body can't heal. So remove the inflammation and we give our body the proper foundation to heal or prevent disease.
Yeah.
You also reacted to brewer's yeast, I see. And that's a little tricky one because brewer's yeast is not always listed on an ingredient label. In fact, I have never seen it on an ingredient label.
Okay.
But the
Yeah,
brewer,
I was worrying about that one because I know of brewer's yeast from being in alcohol, but I haven't had alcohol for I think maybe a year or more. So I
okay.
don't know where else I might find it or what it might be cross-reactive with.
Right. So it is in a little bit more than just alcohol. It's actually in all wine, beer, and alcohol and vinegars.
Okay,
So
then that makes a lot more
vinegars
sense.
are, people might say, well, I never use vinegar. Well, condiments, if you ever eat outside of your house, marinades and sauces. So those are all things you need to be careful of. Mustard, ketchup, those all contain vinegar in the ingredient.
Okay.
So
Even apple cider vinegar?
so the only exceptions are raw apple cider vinegar and distilled white vinegar. So there is still hope. Right, right.
Nice. That's my
Um,
favorite.
as far as alcohol, you are allowed triple distilled vodka and silver tequila. Most vodkas are triple distilled. However, I say when you're finding out your food sensitivities, you're doing so for a reason. And that's probably because you might have some health issues or you might you might be trying to stay in optimal health, but alcohol really isn't going to help us on the healing journey. If anything, it's going to make our gut lining more permeable, and that's going to ultimately lead to more food sensitivities and even autoimmune diseases down the road. So yeah, there's acceptable vodkas and alcohols, but avoid them. It's just for three
Yeah,
months. What do you have to
no
lose? You have
worries.
everything to gain, right?
Absolutely.
Now I
Yeah.
lost your results. Do I
Oh,
just
sorry.
minimize
I can put them back up. There we go. Desktop, share. There we go.
Okay, very good. So you also reacted to wheat. And a lot of people will see wheat and be like, oh, so I can't have gluten. Not necessarily, because gluten is just the protein found in wheat, rye, and barley. There's other compounds in wheat, and wheat is just one whole grain in particular. So when you do react to wheat, I highly recommend our anti-gliadin test.
I
So
did
if
that
you
one
want to go
too.
ahead and pull that one up.
Yeah. Can you see that one?
Yes, I can. So this
Nice.
breaks down, we test the gluten with two different tests, the IgG ELISA test and the IgA, which is a marker for celiac disease. You reacted negative to both. So what that means is that you don't have to avoid all the gluten containing grains, such as rye and barley. Like I mentioned, gluten is in. You just need to avoid wheat. And wheat
Nice.
is, when everyone says, oh, I eat whole grain, they only think there's only, one type of whole grain, and that's whole wheat, but that's not necessarily the case. Any grain, buckwheat, millet, amaranth, quinoa, rice, oats, those are all whole grains. So the possibilities are endless. And again, today, along with, more than almond milk alternatives, there are lots of wheat-free alternatives. So be sure to be mindful of that. And obviously wheat is a whole grain, so it's going to be found in baked goods and pasta, and even in condiments, believe it or not. So
wow.
something like, so yeah, just be mindful of that. Let
Yeah,
me go
definitely.
back.
I definitely, actually, Davis switched up the bread that we use because we were using some local bakery called Zach the Baker, and that was delicious bread. But
Okay,
we've
but it had
since,
wheat in it.
yeah, for sure. I mean, who knows what else? But yeah, definitely wheat, 100%. And yeah, switched up to, I can't remember what the brand is called. I want to say it's like Glutino, but I could be off on that. But the bread's delicious, so I'll have to figure out whatever that name is because it's really, really good and it's frozen. So I think it's probably available in a lot of places.
Good, good. Another one I want to recommend to you, another brand is Sammy's Bakery, and I believe they're actually based in Florida. They make gluten-free sourdough bread. It is rice and millet base, so they not only have bread, but they have tortillas and pita bread and wraps, cookies, you name it, they have it. So definitely check that out. You can actually order online, so it's convenient, and it definitely tastes delicious.
Nice.
I know I said sourdough, and I also get that question with, or when somebody has a brewer's yeast sensitivity, is sourdough okay? Traditional fermented sourdough bread is okay because it is bacterial fermented and not fermented with a vinegar and sugar. So if
Okay.
it's bacterial fermented, it is okay. If it's yeast fermented, it is not. So be careful of that.
Gotcha. So that'd be why something like kombucha would be okay because it's bacterial fermented.
Correct. Yes.
Wow, I'm learning so much. This is awesome.
Good, good. So yeah, I mean, you've got some pretty easy results. Shouldn't be too hard to avoid these foods. What I, do recommend, if you see any foods on here that you're really used to having every day and, you make a meal out of it, I say go ahead and look through our betterhealthusa.com website, which is our membership-based online patient support website where you do have free access for a year. You will log on the site, fill out the membership form, and then you will be emailed your login information right after. And maybe you already have your login information. Do you?
I do.
Cool. Go ahead and log in. And in the middle, right above the video, it says new recipes.
Yep.
Yep, go ahead and click that. So on here, I have personally added all of the recipes. Well, these are all the links. So go ahead and click on, let's go to breakfasts, wherever those are, if you want to scroll down. There we go. So oats, amaranth, quinoa, all of these are recipes that coincide with the 154 foods that we test for.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So everything is dairy-free, gluten-free, yeast-free. So automatically that eliminates a ton of trouble that we usually find when we do come across a new recipe.
Nice.
Yeah, so what I recommend doing is going forward and pick out a few recipes that sound good. Double and triple the recipes. I'm a huge fan of batch cooking, and the purpose of that is so that you can make a large amount at once and then freeze single serving portions so that when mealtime rolls around, you're not standing in the kitchen for countless hours, and you can, thaw out whatever meal you have or want to have the night before,
Yeah.
so that your meal is ready to go. And another thing with that is people say, I know a lot of people already who like doing batch cooking, and with our elimination diet, we do recommend the rotation diet. It's a meal plan, which is your non-reactive foods that you do receive after you test with us. And it is a list of your non-reactive foods listed over a 4-day period. The purpose of that is so that you are not consuming the same foods daily, because as we talked about with the pumpkin, an overconsumption of the same foods ultimately can lead to additional food sensitivity. So here you have day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and you are more than welcome to kind of switch things up. I'd rather you switch things up and make it work for you and your lifestyle than consume your food sensitivities. So if having egg on day 1, where it's listed on day 4, is something you want to do it. I don't have a problem with
Gotcha.
that. So that is the purpose of that.
I did have one question with my results.
Yes.
So as far as I know, I haven't had any crab or oyster in like a really long time. Is there a place where that could be like hidden, like maybe in a sauce or something I should watch out for?
Definitely. Well, there's 2 things I have to say about that. The first is that you could be eating another fish with a similar protein structure, which is why your body is perceiving crab and oyster as that protein that you're reacting to. Another thing is that fish sauce encompasses a ton of different types of fish, oyster being one of them. So a lot of times you might not order crab per se, but you
Yeah.
might be getting, say, a steak with a specific type of marinade. Okay, my bad. You said you were vegan. So, regardless, say you're
You're more
getting
on the vegetarian side, but yeah,
right,
I
right.
definitely eat a lot of Asian food, and I'm much more relaxed when it comes to whatever sauce they're putting on it.
Okay,
So I'm,
so yeah, definitely with Asian food, fish sauce is probably used in everything.
yeah,
Um,
for sure.
yeah, definitely. And there is a vegan fish sauce out there. So if you do like making Asian food and it does call for fish sauce, I can't tell you off the bat right now what it is called. Shoot. I want to say it's something boat is the brand, but it is out there. They do make it, and it would be a great substitute for
That's
you.
pretty cool. I'll have to look that
Yeah,
up.
and
That
the
sounds
other thing with
interesting.
that is our supplements. Our supplements contain a lot of hidden oyster
Oh
shell
wow.
and whatnot. So we might not be eating that food directly, but it is definitely hidden somewhere in something that we're
Like in
eating.
the supplement powder or like more in the encasing of the pill?
The casing of the pill.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my wife is much more hardcore on making sure that's vegetarian capsules.
Yes, and they
I'm a lot
sell
more loose on
those. So
that.
yeah, you do want to be mindful of that.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
Yeah, because that was really odd to me that crab and oyster came up because I know that oyster hides a lot more in sauces, but crab I didn't think as much. But yeah, if I'm being more relaxed on the Asian food and whatever sauce they're giving me, that's probably where it's coming from.
exactly,
So I'll have to watch out
correct.
for that. Okay.
Yes. Um, Another thing, you reacted to pumpkin, you do want to avoid not only the flesh, but the seed too. So
Okay.
that's something that you want to be careful of.
Yeah, that's a
And
good point. I think I was more than likely eating a lot more of those seeds and like various nut mixes that I had.
right, right. And I know you didn't react to baker's yeast, but I might as well just mention it since you reacted to a different type of yeast. Baker's yeast is usually found on the ingredient label and can be found in, bakery type goods. So breads, pastries. But you don't have to worry about that. Don't go too crazy though on the breads and pastries.
No problem. I mean, it's probably is going to have wheat in it anyway. So yeah. So with
Right.
wheat, I guess it kind of means avoiding a lot of the yeasts as well.
Yes, that is true. That is very true. But other than that, let's go ahead and go to your total IgE test that you had. So this is another test that we offer at Immuno Laboratories, and it is for getting your total IgE count. And IgE has to do with allergies. Now, the last test we were looking at for IgG are food sensitivities. Those are delayed onset, meaning you can consume the food maybe today and not have reactions, from 2 hours to a day later. So with food sensitivities, it really is hard to pinpoint what foods are causing your symptoms or producing antibodies in your body because they are not immediate. Whereas allergies are immediate and they can become life threatening. So they are much more serious. Unlike food sensitivities, where you just need to avoid those foods for 3 months, allergies you usually need to avoid for life. So what you have here, you have a total result of 35, which definitely is, showing us that you likely have a true allergy.
Mm.
So from this number, what we offer is additional allergy panels where we can find out, okay, what is this true allergy from? Is it something in the environment? Is it a food? Is it an inhalant? Is it chemical? Is it a mold? So you can go forward and find out specifically what it is that you are having an allergy to. And I think that is all. I think we covered all the tests then.
Yes, I think all the other ones. Let's see if
Yeah, I
What
will
the
just
normal
mention the
things?
milk subtraction and egg subtraction tests. Those are helpful when you do react to cow's milk or to egg because it will break it down. It breaks down the proteins. Cow's milk contains 5 proteins, which you can see on the screen here. 4 of those are whey that you see on the right, and the other is casein. So when you react to cow's milk, we can see which of the 5 dairy proteins you are reacting to. And that just might make it, might give us some more options when it comes to dairy products, because if you didn't react to casein, which you didn't, you would be able to have the hard based cheeses only, which are Parmesan, provolone, Swiss, and cheddar. That is the cheese that we test for. So when you react to cheese, those are the cheeses that you would need to avoid.
Gotcha. I had one question. With lactoferrin, is that still part of whey or is that also used for something else?
Lactoferrin would be a part of a whey protein.
Part of whey protein.
Yes.
Okay, nice. And then with the egg subtraction, I was happy to see that nothing with eggs, which was also
Right.
surprising because I hadn't had eggs for the longest time. Then more recently, I started eating eggs, so I thought there might be a likelihood that I was reactive for whatever reason. Although I think maybe only one time I've been reactive to eggs, but other than
Yeah,
that,
I think
never
I
had.
remember that too. And, maybe then you've just been more conscious about it and not eating them every day. So that could be why, maybe, if you were to start overeating them, well, they might become a sensitivity to you sooner.
Yeah, kind of like the pumpkin. Definitely eating a lot
Correct.
more pumpkin.
Right,
Not
right.
that always happens like that, but seemed to probably be the case with pumpkin. And I was super stoked to see I didn't have candida because that
Yes.
stuff's not fun to get rid of.
No. And, if you do have a candida overgrowth, I always recommend taking care of that first, because some people try to avoid their food sensitivities, go on a candida diet protocol, which um, is tedious. It's a tedious diet,
Yeah,
and it becomes too limiting. So, after they try to eliminate everything at once, it's like, well, what's left to eat? Well, there really isn't. So focus on one thing at a time, and one day at a time. And that's really what it all comes down to.
nice. All right, so it seems like the main thing I need to focus on is just right here is the IgGs and make sure I don't eat these specific foods and follow the foods that I can eat from the ones that are down here in blue, or like you were mentioning, the 4-day rotation diet, and going from there.
That is correct. If you need any recipes or substitution ideas or even products like a protein powder, that is why I'm here and what I do. I love helping people find new recipes, substitutions to their favorite recipes. Some people can't live without their pizza, and that's what I love showing them, is that you can still have your pizza just made with different ingredients.
Nice. And then I had one question because the only thing I can think of that I've recently done is I'm looking back at my results and having the great fortune of only having 12 reactive foods and so many of them being such a lower reaction. I mean, reactive is reactive, but it's nice to see that it's a small amount of foods and lower reaction. The only thing I can attribute to that result is maybe because I've been taking a probiotic a lot more commonly. Is there anything that you know of that people can take if they do have a lot more reactive foods and they do have a lot stronger reactions that can help them with that gut hyperpermeability? Do probiotics work, or what would be other things that people could do to help heal their gut?
Right. I definitely think everybody should take a probiotic. I mean, it stands for pro-life.
Oh
So
wow.
we are outnumbered by our gut bacteria. So definitely taking a probiotic is helpful. However, you say supplement, and that's exactly what it is. A supplement is to be taken supplementary to a good diet. So we want to first get that diet taken care of. And when you are trying to heal your gut, there is a specific leaky gut diet or protocol that you can follow. But really, supplements should be after that is taken care of. And of course,
Gotcha.
adding probiotic, digestive enzymes, doing other healthy supplements for your gut, like L-glutamine is great for healing a permeable gut lining. Those can all be very helpful, and just kind of be a good push to get us in the right direction. But yeah, you can't be taking your probiotic and eating your Fruit Loops for breakfast. It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way?
Unfortunately,
What?
it
I was going to
doesn't.
go on the McDonald's diet, take a
No, no, no,
probiotic,
you can't be
so
doing
everything was fine.
that.
Okay, nice.
So,
All
yeah.
right. And any other things I should watch out for, or tips, or anything I should do, or just in general, if you have reactive food stuff that you should make sure to do? We talked on probiotics. Anything else that you recommend, or?
Not necessarily. A lot of times people, we don't like change, but when we are taking health into our own hands, we really do have to make changes. And sometimes people don't like to cook, but this is a great time to learn to cook, to learn a meal plan and prep so that, you're not starving and you reach for the wrong foods and then, kind of trip up your elimination diet. If you do have an oops throughout the 3 months, it's not the end of the world. You don't have to restart over, but just think of it as kind of taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back every time. So
Gotcha.
try the best you can. We're human, we're not perfect, but yeah, it's not the end of the world if you slip.
Nice. Awesome. Well, thank you, Kinsey.
Yeah, absolutely.